I don't love Phoebe Bridgers.
What?
I don't love Phoebe Bridgers.
Phoebe Bridgers
Which,
had me listening
as a
to
white
white girl
person,
music.
yeah, I know. As a white person, you'd think.
I started listening to Phoebe after that one. Damn.
And that's why.
No,
that's why.
not the Ghost in the Machine. I actually like that song because it was so different.
Give me a minute. Now, little bitch, can't let you finish. I might kill my ass, sink and destroy. I'm the lowest of the lowest. Yes, I've been used to being used like this. When I'm with you, wonder if you notice me. Yeah, girl, she gonna girl. Now hit me enough for the two of us. I might forgive it, I won't forget it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Full Spin Club. My name is David Stewart. I'm the host of this online album listening club, and today we have Gabby Lowry in the building.
Lowry.
Heyo.
Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, man. So today you brought the album SOS by SZA for us to talk about.
Classic.
For those that haven't joined us before, there are three main segments to the show. There's On a Pedestal, which is where we talk about the highlights of the record. There is Discourse, where we talk about what I consider some of the lowlights or anything I find weird, and then I want to talk to like the local stan about like some of the weirdness. And then we have On a Turntable, which is where I have questions written specifically for Gabby, using sort of like the artist or the album as the backdrop to get to know them better.
Oh yeah.
So, Gabby. I have a segment that I start with now. It's called Liner Notes. And it is essentially the very simple question of why. So why SOS by SZA? Why is this important to you? Why'd you want to bring it to hang out and share?
Okay. The reason I brought SZA, the SOS album, is because it was the highlight of my hoe phase.
Okay.
It was the song Low was just a constant memory in the back while I was being a lady of the night. And just, the song Conceited really just does something to me, and I just felt like, I don't know, I just felt, made me feel cool.
Yeah.
It made me feel like I should just go sit by some water and like reevaluate myself during this whole phase.
Sit by some water.
Yes, like just sit there.
Like contemplative, like, I thought you meant like a bottle of water. You're like, I need to hydrate.
So you know what? I need to stay hydrated. This makes me want to drink fucking water. Like,
I'm thirsty.
I want to drink something. Telling you. So that's kind of why I brought the album, just because it was something that I have a lot of good memories to. I love just dancing in my room to that shit. It's like good headphone music, and it's just a vibe, introspective.
Yeah.
I like it.
So I am a huge fan of Control. I'm a big Control guy, and so like I was kind of hesitant to get into this record because I like Control so much.
What? And I will say there is like two fan bases when it comes to this like album. It's people who are like, I love SZA's Control, like this is that, and like there's other people who are like, I see the beauty in both. So for me, I fuck with them both, but it's also like someone kind of said about the album that there was like no kind of growth in a sense when it came to it. Like some people thought like Control was more like, it was like, that's just a different time period though. So I really feel like you can't compare the two. So like how I'm trying to describe it is Control's more flowy, sit in the field, sit in the field. Like it's got classics. Drew Barrymore on that shit is a classic. Like, but also that's a different time period in life. That's like striped pants, attire wear. That was neon colors, and that was a different time period. Yeah,
I read some interesting takes on like exactly this of like the Control versus like SOS and like the differences between them. So the Control, and like I definitely got this from Control. It's like about being in your 20s.
Yeah.
And like kind of figuring out your life, figuring out your path, doing all those things, figuring out like all those things. And then like SOS is a lot more like sitting in it.
Yeah.
And like you're like, okay, so like but now what?
Yeah. And then because you can also kind of see that like some of the songs, she's still saying some of the same things as Control.
Yeah.
There is no growth on some of that shit. Like, what is it, Face to Face, when she was like, oh, I fuck him because I miss you. That's Control coded.
Yeah.
Like, it's still the same shit.
Well, also that's like kind of like one of like the like fallacies in self-growth is that it's all linear and like completely moving forward. Like, it's like you don't think there's a step back in there or something?
No, literally.
Like, no. Growth is non-linear.
And that's what people have to remember. Like, sometimes it comes in waves.
Yeah.
And I think that's why that album cover is also just kind of crucial. Just like sitting there with all that stuff and like sitting with the waves and the motion of it and being like, I've done a lot of shit. I've had a lot of good times. I've had a lot of bad times. And now it's kind of sitting with those memories and going, what the fuck next? Do I grow or do I just stay the person that I am? You know?
Yeah.
Because I kind of also like who I am too.
Right.
As much as as fucked up as I am, I kind of fuck with me.
Yeah. Like it's such, like I was really growth focused for like a long time.
Oh no, same.
And like then at a certain point I was like, now it's not doing it the way it was. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like I'm missing a lot of things because like you're so growth focused. You're like, gotta keep going, gotta keep striving, grinding, all that other shit. And I'm like, I feel like I'm actually missing life at a certain point.
Yeah.
Where I'm not enjoying any of this. It's like you're constantly chasing that thing that's fake in the future.
And you have to like kind of focus on having a human experience.
Yeah.
You're gonna fuck up.
Oh yeah.
You need to fuck up.
It's fun.
Like you have to like.
Sometimes you mess up. It's kind of a good time.
Exactly, and then owning that shit too. Of like when you fuck up, be like, I fucked up.
Yeah, but as long as you don't fuck up in like any legal ways. Let's go ahead and put that disclaimer out here.
Let's put that out there.
The fuck around and find out spectrum is wide.
It's big nowadays.
Yeah, so like keep it within the bounds of like the law.
How much bail can you afford? Keep it in.
Also, how much social capital can you afford to lose?
And
like,
you have to remember that too. Like that's the constraints of it. If you got the money to fuck around and find out, fuck around and find out.
But
But if you don't,
that's our disclaimer. Like, don't be like, all right, well, I think I deserve something crazy.
No, for real. Don't use too much of your free will. Just enough.
So let's move on to our first segment, On a Pedestal. And this is where I talk about the highlights of the record. But I usually start with the question, like, if you're sharing this album with someone, like, it could be me, it could be anyone. If you're like, hey, give this album a spin, what's the thing that you're like hoping people find about it? Like, what's the thing? Because like this question comes from me. Like, if I share an album with someone, I'm like, hey, there's a very real part of me that this is expressing, and I hope you pick up on it. Like, what's that for you with this record?
I would say one of the things I think people should pick up from like the album is like, if I were to send it to somebody, I would say it's like a get in your bag kind of thing. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. Like, for me, when I listen to the album, it makes me feel like, okay, it's like, fuck my ex. But then it's also like, I love me so much.
Right.
And then it's also like, oh my God, that girl's over there is cute. I should entertain that feeling as well. Then it's also like, do I need help? I don't know. Just keep going. You know, and it's just like one of those things. So when I think of the album, and if I were to send it to somebody, like if I were to send it to like my friend Delina or something, I'd be like, girl, this is perfect for you, like to get over that nigga. Like, come on, like, just like, lock in your bag, like I don't know. Like, for me, it's like, it makes me feel good. That album does make me feel good.
Okay.
It's even like the song like Good Days, like Good Days on, like that shit is a banger for real. Like, it's got so, and then they got that song like,
when you say good, can you expand on that? Like, like you mean like euphoric, like happy, or just like good vibes? Like,
it makes me want to go in the mirror, dance butt naked, and just try different dance moves I've never done before.
Okay.
Maybe learn
like a confidence thing?
A confidence thing. It's like a confidence booster kind of album for me. So like, if I were to send it to somebody, it'd be like to enhance on your great day that you're already having. Like, and if you're not having a good day, here's this. Because I feel like that album has a nice build. Like, okay, put your headphones on, chill, like listen to that first half of it and just be like, oh shit. And then once you finally start to pick it up and you hear that pop punk reference and you like start just hearing some of those like Avril Lavigne like coded things that make you want to fucking
so
like
Avril Lavigne coded.
You know, that makes you just want to like put on your fucking pumps and fucking let's just, and I don't know, it just makes it feel good music. Yeah. So, you know, it starts off slow, and I like albums that kind of have layers and it doesn't sound like one big song. Yeah. Like, it has dimensions to it. Like, it has waves. Like, you know?
I did notice that it had like it really picked up towards like the middle, or even like the sort of like second, third, like of the record. Like,
I call it the rising action of an album.
Yeah, well, like, because like interestingly enough, like they talked about narrative, and I'll probably talk about this in the later section. But like, it's narrative. Like, is it a narrative? It's a whole thing. But I noticed that like it was a little slow in the start. It, like minus Kill Bill. Kill Bill rips. But like, because like that's like what the second cut. But like, it's a little slow in the beginning, and I was like, I feel like all of my favorites were like more towards like the back end, or like at least more towards like the, you know, third quarter.
He said that second half.
Yeah,
she got me in the second half.
You got me in the second half. Yeah. So speaking of though, like, what are your top 3 cuts from this record? Like,
top 3?
If you had to pick top 3,
it would go Low, Special, and Conceited. but I also love that. It's one of those albums when I click on one song. Yeah, like when I click on
non-singles.
Yeah, like it's like when I click on the album, I'm gonna listen to it all the way through. Like Rihanna's Anti. Okay. Anytime I click on a song from that, I gotta listen to the whole album. So with that, like when I hear Low, I'm like, let me play the whole album. Here's Special. Put it on, like it's kind of like one of those things.
It used to be that way with Control with me. If like a song
on
from
Drew
Control,
Barrymore,
just fuck it, send the whole thing. Yeah, I think my favorite one was Prom Queen off of Control.
Ooh, that is a good one.
It's so good.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But no, like my top three, I think like Kill Bill is like probably one of my top ones. Like, and which is like very basic white boy of me.
But it's good though.
It's so good.
It's good though. So and I just also because if you've seen Kill Bill, it's kind of like one of those things you can see it like in like if they make the movie again, if they do a reboot, we gotta have that.
Make it black.
Yes, like gotta bring your daughter back up. Like come on, it would be kind of like one of those things.
Yeah.
So. No, yeah.
Then I love Face to Face, like F2F for those that are not hip.
Yeah, in case you don't text people.
In case you don't text people. But that song, you're right, it's so Avril Lavigne coded, it's crazy.
It's a banger.
And then, but it also reminded me of like the Kid Cudi song. We were talking about this like yesterday. I can't remember the name of it. It's like God. It's like I keep on running, and
because like what I'm saying, it's like that feel good kind of music where it's kind of like it just makes you wanna.
Yeah, well, like I'm a pop punk guy. Like like I talk about it like almost every episode. That's like
you're a pop punk guy.
I know. Look at my beard. Yeah, like,
I know.
I talk about this like on the show a bunch. It's like that's kind of home base for music, and then like if I'm like. Heading somewhere else, it's usually hip hop or like pop culture music like this. And so like when they cross over, I'm always pumped. Like Fantano did not like Face to Face. He did not enjoy it. He's like it's like, and he got like technical about it. He's like, the guitars and stuff weren't recorded correctly. I'm like, well, she's not making a fucking punk record.
Yeah,
like,
it's not about the engineering.
No.
Talk to the engineer about that. Talk to the guy who mixed and mastered it. But not the contents of that song, the core pieces of it. Beautiful, like they flow so well together that it was like, damn, you should have got Avril Lavigne on that motherfucker.
Yeah, dude, collab.
You could have called, like somebody could have called. She would have did that shit because like it's just I don't know. It just makes you feel so good. It makes you feel like you should go to Hot Topic and grab a shirt and like like maybe I should get a gauge or something like. Fucked up girl, I missed you. Yeah, and it's just so toxic too because like
as all pop punk music is. If you listen to a Fall Out Boy record, oh my god,
man,
like the early Fall Out Boy is so funny to me now.
He said, "I look back on it, and
it's oh god, it's so toxic, it's crazy." But like, I still enjoy it.
No, because people love that toxic shit because like that's what makes it so crazy. Because it's like, why am I screaming? I fuck him because I miss you. Like, it's actually kind of sad.
Oh yeah,
and imagine being the person who's getting fucked. Yeah. You're like,
what do you mean? What am I?
Who are you thinking about?
Come on, dog.
All right, I guess
I'm a human being.
Is this how you feel about him? You should call him. This is nice.
I'll dial.
Here you go.
Here you go.
Here's FaceTime.
And then I think my third, it might just be like Notice Me. That's the one I found myself listening to a bunch.
Notice Me is good.
And like, it's funny how much I was like, I resonate with SZA.
I'm a feminist. You ever met my mom's a woman.
Yeah, my mom's a woman. She's somebody's daughter.
Yeah, like come on, somebody's wife. Somebody likes that lady.
But yeah, those are like the ones I gravitated towards. It took me a while because like this is my first time listening to the entire album in earnest in like a long time. Because I listened to it when it came out, but I was such a Control head.
That's why you have to just open your mind. You gotta live a little. You gotta live a little.
Yeah, it took me a minute to come back to it. But yeah, those are my top three.
Okay. Bangers right there.
They're good bangers.
So
I mean, I have a decent taste. And then my last question for Pedestal, and I've switched it up recently. It's what makes a good album for you, and then what are the boxes that you like look to check for like a good album in general, and then
a good album.
How many of those boxes does this album specifically check?
Okay, so when I think of good albums, I think one, I do judge like albums based on their cover, because that's also kind of a way how I explore music, because like I think an album cover is crucial.
It's got to be eye-catching.
Like because it's something that you're gonna stare at whether you're in the car or like you're working out. Like it's something that you're gonna look at, and so I feel like it should definitely give you it should be art. It should be something creative. So like that would be my first step when it comes to an album. Then my second piece of like for a good album would be whether it sounds like one big song or not. So like I'm really crucial about your first song and your ending song. I feel like some people nowadays, they just put albums together. They don't really flow. They don't really string, and they're just like here. You know, so that first and last song should let me know what this album is going to be damn near about. It should set the tone for it.
Yeah.
And that last song should always be something that's kind of like, you finish that motherfucker. It should be like the chef's kiss on all this shit, you know?
Right.
So I look for that. My third thing that I kind of would look for is whether or not the first song has a feature on it or not.
Ooh.
Because for me, if your first song has a feature on it, it lets me know it's going to be a shitty album.
Yeah.
Next thing I would look for, did you put any other elements of media inside of like your album? And when I mean that, I mean like skits. Did you get any like entertainers, or did you do something that was culturally relevant at the time on the album? Is it kind of like, does it like stamp the time period of that album, that kind of thing? And then I say the last thing I'd probably kind of look for would be the time you dropped the album. Is this a summer album? Is this a fall album? Does it sound like something you should have dropped in the fall? Like what is it like? Is it dropped right? Like, is it in its proper season?
Yeah.
So like with this album, I would go, it checked the box on the cover art, and then I even like now, like nowadays they do like the covers where you can like move them, like it has motion to them. So I really think that also helps with the overall art and the theme of it. So I mess with that. So that checked the box. There's no features on that first song, which I'm like, we're starting off right.
Yeah.
We're starting off right. Like
Do you
creative.
think it was a good opener though?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the whole SOS with the Morse code at the start kind of is just like, and if I knew Morse code, like I
I didn't find it as gripping as I found other openers before. Like, 'cause, like, I'm a big opener guy. Like the more I do this show, the more I listen to the records. I'm like, yeah, man, the opener is so sick on this one, and like I didn't feel that way. It goes into Kill Bill, and I think that's when it really picks up. But then again, I am biased towards that song.
But also, I think something like I think when you start off with something so slow burn as that, it gives room to grow. Like it gives that room to start running out the gate. Like I also manage like 3 artists, and I help a lot of times with like placement of music. And I think about today's people and how people listen to music and attention spans. And so like when you hear that second song and it's like, it's kind of like upbeat. It's like, oh shit. Because like I think the first song is damn near, it's like for the fans. It's kind of like I said, it's painting the picture. It's the overall theme, because that album does have slow parts. Like you said, like that album gets you in the third quarter, because it's like, okay, first quarter we go low, then we go high, and then we go like, oh, you know, and then we kind of, it's like kind of coasting. Then you're like, all right, pick me back up, that kind of thing. So it's like, I think that's necessary.
It feels bold in the modern era, though, to be playing, like, having some lulls in the first quarter.
But also, I think, like, with SZA's music, I think you gotta have some lulls. Like, I think that's damn near what she's kind of known for, like having that lull kind of thing. Like that's why the end of the album is so kind of crazy. It's like, why is SZA kind of rapping? Like, what the fuck? You have Old Dirty Bastard on this?
Older
Like,
Bastard, come
what
on.
what is this? So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, I fucked with how like it started off low, but I think that's what SOS is. Yeah. Like it's not one, like it could have came off as like, we could have been like a Panic, and it could have started off with that energy, but I think it just kind of set it in. It's like, dun, dun, dun. Like it's kind of, I don't know. I figure it as like triumphant, and I also kind of view some albums of like, what would this look like in concert? And like imagine hearing that dun, dun, before she comes on stage, like starting to set like, oh shit, like you about to, she got some shit to say, like kind of like it's almost like a narrative in a sense. It's like starting. So I kind of really fuck with that portion of it. And then like the features on there, very like diverse. Like she had like unexpected kind of people featured on the album. You're like, oh shit, didn't know you even listened to any types of this. Like I didn't know you did this. So I'd say that's a portion of it. And I'd say So I'd say it's a pretty solid album for me.
Yeah, it checks all the boxes.
Yeah, it checks all the boxes.
I do think albums with narrative are more fun for me. Like which is like crazy. I've been like. Like I had like a whole conversation with Chris Weir and Garrett Teitelbaum about albums that weren't necessarily my cup of tea. Okay. One was John Prine's Sweet Revenge, and then the other was American Beauty by the Grateful Dead. Not my thing. And like I was trying, like I sat here with Garrett trying to be, like break down why this isn't my thing. And it's because mostly I like sad music, or like I like angry music, or like things that are like frustrating, like the things that like in growing up I wasn't super allowed to like express. And so like then I just clung to someone else expressing it for me.
I like that.
And so in like but I like glossed over one point. It's like John Prine Christ. He wrote like a lot of like narrative based songs, but not necessarily narrative based albums. I'm like, is this fiction? Am I missing out on Parable? What's happening?
Parable.
Because people write Parable.
Yeah.
Like Kendrick Lamar. But like whole album narratives rip. Like My Chemical Romance, sick. Like they do the whole album is like a narrative of like it's a story. Code and Cambria, they do that as well.
Have you ever seen Tyler the Creator's kind of music videos? Yeah. So he also is one of those people who create narratives and like paints a picture in those stories. Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying. Like there's so many different ways to go about music that you really can't go about it like the wrong way. So like I appreciate music that has no theme, that has no content, like that is just gibberish. Because sometimes you have a long fucking day, you don't want to listen to just. Sometimes some people listen to jazz, some people put on fucking put on SoundCloud rap. So it's kind of like it just depends on what kind of mood you're in. And like I agree with what you're saying. Like you want something that's gonna make you feel something. I think that's why SZA's SOS is kind of it's confusing emotions in most of those songs. Yeah. Not one of those songs is really concrete on how she truly feels. It's confusing.
Well,
like she says one thing. Yeah,
like,
and so that kind of like the water on that shit is perfect. It's like it's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Well, SZA is so good at like painting complexity because she's like very vulnerable in her work. I think I talked about this when we were talking about Control. She's very open and is like, but like, so she's so good at painting complexity because humans are not black and white as much as we like want to like.
No, for sure.
We want to say that and she's giggling because of the race.
Happy Black
the
History
race
Month.
of it all. This is black and white right now.
Gray area.
That's not what I was getting at. But she does that really well. But like I had questions about narrative, and I had read some interesting takes that like whether this is like a narrative driven album or not.
I would say it's kind of like you said, Control was about like your 20s, and now it's kind of like this album is more I would say it is a narrative. It's like a coming of age story to a growing woman.
To like do you think 30s? You think we've reached like 30s
yeah.
is the
I think
what, 5 years between
because you go through because you go through that whole thing where you're like your frontal lobe develops, and now you have to sit with your frontal lobe development.
Yeah.
And then you have your fucking Saturn return, or like you have like your early quarter life crisis pretty much. And so it's kind of like one of those things. I think that's when life really hits a lot of people. It's in their 30s because I think 25 hits like a ton of bricks. You're like, I'm a person and no one's coming to save me.
Yeah.
And what's happening? And so I think when you're in your 30s, you're kind of like, I think it's time for me to kind of get my shit together. Yeah. If not, you're just going to be who you are at that point. So just because you get older doesn't mean you...
That Saturn's return is tough.
Yeah, so it's kind of like one of those things where I think she experienced that, and then like a combination of all of that shit, and you're just like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Because yet again, humans are complex. There's a lot of emotions that go in there. You could fuck somebody and hate them. That's like human. Like sometimes that's like, why would you do that? But it's like, you don't know.
God, don't you crave simplicity?
Yeah,
though?
like don't you? It's just like some of those things. You're like, this is what it is. I don't know why my brain works this way.
Yeah.
Like it's just what it is.
She seems really self-compassionate.
Yeah, like
she's very kind to herself and letting her feel these things.
No, for real. Like you be like thinking, man, I really just want to fuck this bitch because she work out every day. I like her discipline.
Yeah.
Like, why do you like
fuck that discipline?
Yeah, I want to fuck that discipline. Like instead of being like, maybe I should be disciplined myself. No, I'm just gonna.
No. I'm gonna project.
I'm gonna see. Like I don't want to feed into that.
Yeah.
She deserves that. It's kind of but
it's like ruin it.
But it's a confusing fuck. Like so, I think that's what that album is. It's just. It's a coming of age story, but you can still come of age and still be fucking 30. So it's kind of like
true. Yeah, dude, I get so frustrated when people don't grow up fast enough,
man.
But like apparently they fucking don't.
No, man. I'm telling you, could be 62 and be like, you know what? I think I'm gonna get my shit together.
Well, it goes back to that, like I talked about, like the growth, like mindset that I had for like a really long time, and I was like, all right, y'all haven't learned these lessons yet, which is so like uncompassionate of someone who's like gone through something. I'm like, I'll be like, okay, where are y'all now?
No, literally. What are you guys doing? You haven't done that already?
You haven't done that already? You haven't witnessed tragedy?
You haven't bought your first home? You're fucking what, 24?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? You don't know your
You
credit
witness
score?
tragedy?
I mean, come on.
But all right. So that kind of like that clears up On a Pedestal for me. So let's move on to Discourse, which is like where I bring up the things where I'm like, I don't know. So like this album for me, I think one of the more intimidating factors of it going into it was the length. Because Control was 14 cuts. It was, it sat around like an hour, 49 minutes, something like that, under an hour. Which is where I think the golden zone of music is. The golden zone of music is 40 to 60 minutes tops. Just like comedy, the golden time of comedy, honestly, is like a half hour to like, if you're like, at most, the longest set on the show should be 45 minutes. The show itself should be an hour and a half, but the longest, like I've sat through headliners.
Disagree.
I've sat through headliners working out like an hour and 20, and like, my God.
But also, this is where I come in, where it's kind of like, I think you have to first know your audience. Like if you're making something that you truly want to cater to people, okay, then go for that sweet spot. But also if you're really making, when I think of music, like if you're making it for like yourself and shit, like, you shouldn't short yourself, and you shouldn't short the people on if you can give more.
Sure.
You know, like I would never say, oh, a good album is 30 plus songs. Like Chris Brown, he drops volumes of music when he drops an album. But yet again, if you truly love Chris Brown, you're listening to all 30 of those songs.
Does anyone love Chris Brown?
But people because
to listen to all 30?
Yes, because his shits are platinum. Like even if we haven't heard it, there's people out there who listen to Chris Brown probably every single day. But he drops, but that's for himself and also for his fans. So I think the 20 songs that SZA gave us, it was kind of like it was a sweet spot for that album, because imagine so many of the songs we wouldn't have heard. And also, you have to make that album connect. Like when you're making a joke, you have to make sure your shit connects. And I think some of those songs are connecting pieces to that.
Yeah.
Like some of those, like, what is it? There was probably a song in between SOS and Kill Bill. Like there was probably something in between that she was like, it's fucking up the flow. I'd much rather go straight and like, that kind of thing. So sometimes you need songs to tie it together, because like then it's like there's so much left that's not said. And then you're listening to that album and you're going, this isn't really good. I don't really... that kind of thing.
So like it's like me bringing this up is not like an indictment on the record where I'm like, this is trash because it's so long. I'm saying I was nervous because in the world of streaming, what long albums mean to me is that it's like a smash and grab, trying to find like the multi-platinum singles in like a spaghetti at the wall situation. That's usually because like if you look at any Drake album that's come out recently, that fucker's 25 songs long. And like, most of them are trash.
Yeah, but also that's when that person has like, when you have a lot of fans that like, I think when your fan base is like really, really diverse, you have to kind of go, like you have to kind of throw that shit out there and go.
Are they diverse though? Like, is Drake's fan base diverse?
But that's a point of diversity too. Like those white guys need all that. Like,
do they?
Yeah, they need that in order to find it. Like you got something for the frat, something for when you're at work, something when you're in your mom's car. Like you need like a lot of different. Like sometimes you have to do like, but I think because I don't know, their fan bases are huge. And I think the way people consume music with streaming, it's like you said, it's kind of a cash grab to kind of find like the single. But yet again, it makes people listen to that whole fucking album. And then there's songs that don't even become singles that still get streams that people listen to and like, oh, you guys don't know about this undercoat. Like, I
might have so much personal bias when it comes to this topic because like I'm not listening to all 30 of these songs. Like I love The Weeknd. And you know what I didn't listen to? The entirety of his last album because I was like...
Is that the one where he had like the Amazon thing he did and like where he was like he had like a live concert on Amazon. It's like when he had like Jim Carrey on it.
No, that was Dawn FM, and I like Dawn FM. He recently came out with the record. It had like the smallest rollout ever. Like it just like was not promoted. But like that album had like 25 songs on it. I was like, son of a bitch. Like I don't need this.
But yet again, I think that's what an album is. It's kind of like an album and like sometimes like a mixtape. Sometimes those are supposed to be longer to paint like a better picture of like what it is. Like I don't know. It shouldn't sound like one big song. Like if you're dropping 30 songs, it shouldn't be by the same producer.
Oh yeah.
It shouldn't be like, it should be it should be good, like, you know.
And I've heard arguments about like The Weeknd's most recent record where like it all bleeds together. You barely notice time's going by, and I'm like, that's awesome, great. Maybe I'll give it a listen one of these days. Same with SOS. It took me so long. I was like, God.
You had to grow.
Well, like, because like to be like the devil's advocate for this whole thing that I brought up, like I had watched a few reviews, like got what the people were talking about when it came to this record, and like I agree with the reviews that like it was expansive but not boring.
Yeah,
like she had things to say throughout the entire 20 tracks, like, and it was all like good, and like it was so like I think they attribute the long track listing to the fact that there was 5 years between this and Control. Yeah, and like there's like you're sitting on 5 years worth of shit. You know, like you gotta put out some of you got like you can't just cut songs for the sake of like the album length, and I get it.
I'm telling you,
but it is intimidating up top because like that like this feels different from the cash grab, and like but immediately seeing that many tracks signals to me cash grab, and I was like, no, SZA, no.
You're like, don't do it, don't fall into the trap.
So that was an interesting thing. I feel like I had one more point that I was going to make about the length of this album.
But no, like I agree with I see the vision on it, but I also think it's all about like 5 years is a long time to like not release music. That is so much stuff. So many songs that you recorded probably on a drunk night, late night, go after texting somebody, like all these things, and then you have to string them all together. Yeah. So imagine that there's so many songs we didn't hear, and that's what I said. You also have to listen to the deluxe version of the album SOS, like the Lana one. Like you have to listen to that one because that's got songs on there that's even more like, oh shit, you've really been out here living life. you've been outside for real. Like you've been getting into it. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, shit, SZA's been through a lot in these past few years. Like,
yeah, man, being famous is hard. Being famous is hard. Like she says, my pussy precedes me, and like, and it's like one, you have like the reputation of like of your body before your mind, like that kind of thing. Like that's all that means.
No, man.
And so like it's like it must be terrible to be famous.
It must be awful.
Well, yes. Like, I actually agree. Like. Because like Kendrick going off on Drake, he's like, you're the only one who likes this. You're the only one who likes being famous. This is the worst.
Yeah, he said, actually, I miss being regular. Yeah, I want to be normal.
Yeah, you can't be regular now, Kendrick. Though.
No, not anymore.
No. So we'll circle back to the narrative part. Like I had heard that this album is actually like a narrative story, but it's chopped up so the timeline's weird. Yeah, a la like. Good Kid, Mad City. How like he, chopped up the timeline and made it more like a Tarantino movie, you know, or Kill Bill, right? Like it's like the narrative's all out of order. Do you agree with that? Like, because you're a bigger expert than I am. I didn't listen to this album enough to really deep dive and see what this like gay Asian YouTuber was like insisting this was about. I was like, maybe.
I don't know. I would say like I think it's placed where it needs to be placed. I don't think it's out of order. I think it's in its perfect order. Just because I think, like I said, the water in the background, it lets you know, like, shit comes in waves. I don't know if anybody else experiences, like, feelings like that where it's, like, it's kind of one of those things up and down. You can have one good day one day, and then you can have a shitty, fucked up day the next day, like, but you just keep rolling with the punches, that kind of thing. So, like, I think what this album is, it's dimensional. Sometimes you're like... I don't know. You can feel so much that you're just kind of like one day you're down in the dumps like that. Like the start of the album is more of like, oh, it's laissez-faire. It's really just there. Like then you kind of like next day you watch a movie, you get inspired, some shit like that. Like thought clicks and you're like, okay. Like I don't know. Like like with all those songs, I think it's just I don't know.
I know I get into those waves, but that's also because I'm like mentally ill.
Yeah, and I think but most people are mentally ill, so that's why I'm saying like that album works for me because when I'm listening to it, each song catches my attention because the beat doesn't sound the same. Like it's not doesn't sound like one fat ass song. Like, and that really does like help. So like when you're mentally ill and you want to listen to something that can get your mind off of shit, that's exactly what this album will do. Like it'll take you in different directions, and yet again you'll feel all that shit and still feel good at the end of that shit and be like, okay,
all right,
so that's how I fuck with it. But no, I would disagree with like it's out
it's
of
like
order.
like not out of order in the sense of like it's not in the
like,
in the right order for the record, which I
like
agree
chronologically,
that it is. Yeah,
like,
chronologically they're saying it's like out of order. You think no?
I think during that time, Saturn return time, 5 years worth of time, I think it's exactly how it is. You know, like I think I don't know. I don't know if people ever had lived life or had seen how time works, but like
it moves linearly, but it doesn't feel linear.
No, not at all.
And
like
also, like your own growth and progress like fluctuates, which sucks for anyone who's like obsessed with growth.
Except
because I like have done the weight loss journey. I've gained a bit since like I'm like
I'm telling you, but yet again, 5 years of time can really. Sometimes you can feel like you're moving forward, and then some days you can feel like, damn, maybe I haven't moved enough. You know,
like, there's also like the slingshot theory where it's like you're being pulled back to be launched forward, right? Like those backward motion is necessary for like the opposite motion.
That's a good way to frame it.
Yeah,
that's that slingshot moment. People remember that.
Yeah. I'm smart.
Genius. But no, yeah, I can see that.
And then, so do you think this album outdoes Control? Do you think it like? Because like there's always like the sophomore slump theory, which like because like and like that's not to say because like Control was her first major label debut, but like she had made records ahead of that, like her mixtapes.
Damn.
Like if like I'm not like pitting them against each other.
And I was about to say I will not. I will be the one to say we're not gonna pit two black women against each other. We're not gonna do that.
White comedian talking about no black woman. No, I learned my lesson.
That song, man, that really he told you about that.
It opened my eyes.
I'm telling you.
Me and Andrew Schultz, the exact same kind of comedy.
Oh man, literally, your beard's bigger, man. I'm telling you, man. I will say she did beat the sophomore album curse. I'll put that out there because we've heard sophomore albums before.
Oh, yeah,
and we know what those do.
Well, they make or break the artist,
and that's really just what it is. And so I think, what is it like? Imagine being Frank Ocean after you drop Channel Orange. Can I get any better?
You need a blonde.
Then blonde fucking comes out.
You need a blonde to get that out.
And then imagine this third one we'll get in 14 years from now.
Yeah.
Like.
If ever. Yeah.
I don't think we're ever going to get it high key. I think with what he's experienced, we probably won't ever get that fucking album. We'll never see that. But like, she beat the curse. So I put that out there. But I'm a time period person. I will say like, what I was going through around the time with Control, I got good memories to the shit, like it's cool. But also the memories I also have with the SOS album, just as good memories. Yeah. I'm not the same person I was when I was listening to Control. And I'm barely the same person now from listening from SOS when new music don't drop. So it's kind of like one of those things where I appreciate each album for it is, and I value that nostalgia aspect of listening to music. Yeah. And so that's why when I say SOS is kind of a classic, like, will it be one of those like classics you'll hear it in like an Old Navy one day? Probably not. But like, it's one of those ones where it's like, I got good memories to it. And when I listen to it, it'd be like my Home Alone moment of being like, I love this fucking album. Like, the 90s were great.
I think Rolling Stone actually ranked this one higher on like the 500 most influential albums or whatever. Like, ranked SOS higher than Control.
Oh, shit.
And well, I was like, this is where my bias comes in. It's like, because like Control was such like an eye-opening record when I finally like gave it a listen. Yeah. I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like, it was so good.
And I will say, like, that's what I'm saying. It's that nostalgia aspect on that shit too. Like going, like when you listen to it now, you get those memories, like you get those feelings, like you know,
have like entrance point bias, like where like the album in which you were introduced to a person is usually the one that you're like, oh my god, like this is the one.
No, for sure.
That's the one that gripped you and like spoke to you enough to like get them into that person.
No, for sure. That's how I feel like with Chance the Rapper. Like when I listen to fucking acid rap, I think I was like,
yeah.
And then I listen to the stuff now.
Everything since.
I'm just like, he needs to do some tabs. You know, like he needs to.
Well, he got divorced, so I think that's going to help him out.
So I think that, he'll get that. He'll be like, I'm a divorced dad.
I'm divorced now. And like, I made the world's worst record, got yelled at by Kanye West.
Oh my God, in front of everybody. That's why
your album sucks.
Sitting there like, I love my wife.
It's tough. It's truly tough.
But no, she definitely beat that curse. And I will say, I love them both. So I won't rank them. I kind of do want to rank SOS just a smidgen
just a smidge higher.
Just a smidgen over, just because I I'm older now.
Yeah, that's fair.
You
I bet
know?
if I give this one more time, like, and sit on it as much as I've sat on Control, like,
I'm telling you, it's some good shit because it's also different from Control, and I think that's what it is too. Like she could have went the same route. Like it's still SZA at the end of the day.
Right. Well,
it's still SZA, but it's like she could have went the same route and gave us like
Control kind of had the excitement of figuring out that things are going to be okay. And then
Yeah.
like SOS is more like, oh, we're sitting in Control forever. You know, like, oh no.
but I also think Control played a lot on the stats. Like I think that album, like you know how Drake said, "Oh, Views is already a classic," and when he said that, he kind of meant the samples I'm using, they're already classic. So why would my album not hit? I'm using the cheat code of shit being samples. So when like SZA made Control and had that Drew Barrymore song, and then when she got Drew Barrymore to be in the fucking video, that kind of solidified that album in its Tumblr era of being like, you're forever iconic because it played on that nostalgic piece like already. So it was kind of like Control's always gonna fucking hit because it's nostalgic, like off rip, like just straight hits. And I think Travis Scott was getting up there at that point. So it was kind of like one of those things where that whole album is like the start of a lot of people's careers, and then also reaching back to people's childhood and going like, look at this shit. You know? So I don't know, like they're both bangers, man.
I think I need to sit with this one.
Sit with
This one a little longer.
Listen
I'm
to
still
it.
a Control guy at the end of the day.
Put some headphones in and just walk.
Be
man.
vibing.
Yeah, I was just saying, just go, just walk.
Get my
man.
steps.
Get your steps in, man. Perfect album for that.
All right, my last question for Discourse is, what's the weakest song on the album? And in other words, which one would you cut?
Which one would I cut? I will have to put my phone out first.
Oh, for sure.
I have to see it.
I already have mine.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well. Oh my.
I don't even know the name
of
the song, but I know it.
Let me find mine real quick. Hold on. Ooh, that's hard.
I know. I love this question because it makes people.
Yeah, this.
People like love that. I'm like, all right, now, kill one of your babies.
Pretty much. Okay, I think I probably know which one.
All right, which one?
Used.
Okay.
With the Don Toliver one, just because I don't really listen to Don Toliver.
Yeah, I don't mess with Don Toliver. He sounds the same in exactly every single thing he ever touches, and I get that. That was one of mine. I was like, one of them is gonna have to be the features that goes, and mine is the Phoebe Bridgers one.
I fucking love that song. You talking about the Ghost Computers?
I don't.
Hold on,
I don't love Phoebe Bridgers.
What?
I don't love Phoebe Bridgers.
Phoebe Bridgers
Which,
had me
as
listening
a
to
white
white girl
person,
music.
yeah, I know. As a white person, you'd think.
I started listening to Phoebe after that one. Damn.
That's why.
No, not the Ghost in the Machine. I actually like that song because it was so different. Like just because of the switch of it, it kind of reminded me of some Billie Eilish type shit.
Sure.
You know, like it kind of reminded me of, like it just feels Caucasian.
So I grew up I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and rip apart Phoebe Bridgers because I have not listened to her in her entirety. I have no influence or I have no informed opinions about this. It's just off vibe alone. I've met people like Phoebe Bridgers before in my high school as a white kid in the suburbs. I've met them. I'm good.
Damn.
I'm good with your fingerless gloves. I'm out.
She can sing though, because I think she got a song.
Can she?
She got a song.
Or can she whisper sing? Can she croon?
And that's some good singing.
I don't know.
I like that whispering shit that they be doing. Not everybody can be Christina Aguilera. Yeah, you don't like that? I'm so mystical and white. I want to go to Hot Topic. I just really
I don't.
I love matcha.
I call it plinky music. It's like blink, 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 like on a guitar, and
yeah,
just kind of
my shit just But come on, I don't make you want to drink matcha and just Come on, man, I don't want to.
I'm so much more drawn to emotionally reckless music that's thrashy or whatever. I find that boring. I will say because you did mention that you like music that makes you feel something.
Mm-hmm. With the Phoebe, I don't really feel nothing. I don't really feel nothing, but it's like one of those things where it's like it doesn't also make me feel that I don't like it. If that makes sense. Because some people you hear and you like, that ain't it.
Yeah.
But she don't make me feel that ain't it. It's more of like, okay, she got a little white girl on the
You got a
phone.
white girl thing?
She got a white girl on the phone.
Maybe I've hung out too many, but
And that's probably what
hung
it
out
is
with too
too.
many,
You're
like,
desensitized. Yeah.
It's like, it just gives me theater kid. I don't know why.
But also the fingerless gloves was a perfect analogy because that's damn near what it is.
I know.
That's what it sounds like.
I know.
Fingerless glove music.
Like, which is funny. I make fun of my girlfriend a lot because like she was really big into guinea pigs, like, and like that's how I would describe Phoebe Bridgers too. It's like,
I wish I could do the sound they make because I think that's also.
she can do it. She's so good at it.
Damn it! I would like to hear this. Can you insert some? I was gonna say insert
Like,
audio clips of that.
I can't even do it. Yeah, she's so good.
That's what
at
I'm
it.
saying because I
Yeah.
feel like I want to try to do it. I know it's just not. It's not gonna sound right.
It's not gonna sound.
It's gonna
I'm not gonna
sound
do
like
it
a bore or
justice.
something. Yeah, it's gonna
You know,
sound
I love
right.
her, but like she had
She's
like
expert.
guinea pigs as friends growing up, and that's tough.
She's learned it.
So did Phoebe Bridgers, I guarantee it.
So shout out to Phoebe.
Yeah, well,
And guinea
I'm
pigs.
sure I've made someone mad somewhere already. I don't know. I've made my fair share of enemies with this show.
I like that though. Hopefully they'll come on. They could bring an album. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, you bring an album. We'll talk
Yeah,
about
you
it.
could, if you have an opinion, bring your album.
If you are like a diehard Phoebe Bridgers fan, come on.
Yeah, we're so sorry to that community. And also, I don't have a job, so you can't dox me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Not that they would dox. They would just
Yeah.
write another Plinky song about it.
pretty much. And then, then we have to listen to what are they saying?
Yeah. I don't have it in me.
Man, I know what you're trying to do. Though. I wish I could do it.
Like it's like Phoebe Bridgers, more like Phoebe Buffet from Friends with her cat songs
Yeah.
or whatever.
Now that's white.
Yes,
That's white.
that's my argument.
I don't think there's any black Phoebes though. I don't think I've ever met one.
Yeah, well, they're not going to name.
No,
That's a white people name, man.
yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
We should change that.
Let me go. Where am I gonna? How you say?
You're just
say
gonna
you should change that? Is that what you said?
I like to delegate.
How would I? Change
I like to delegate.
that?
I don't know.
Yeah, name a way I could change that. It isn't like just overtly racist.
Pretty much, I won't say anything. Not here. Not into the mic.
All right. That brings me to that brings us to the end of that segment. That's the end of discourse. We're gonna move on a turntable now, which is where we start talking about you, your creative process, and anything about that. So I didn't mention it up top, but Gabby is a comedian here in Cincinnati, along with myself and many others. So it's like a little bit about that. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So I gravitate towards artists that have like similar backgrounds. Like that's like whoever like grips me most. It's usually because we share some sort of like niche narrative.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, so this is how you feel about it. And it's like, ooh, how do you feel about that thing we both went through but separately?
Okay. I like that.
Do you find that with SZA yourself? Like, do you have anything sort of like matching background things where you're like, huh?
No, I will say no. I will say when I listen to music, sometimes I fixate on stuff. So it's ever who I am for that 2-week period. My fixation on
okay.
music. So and then it's also like when I listen to music, I like music that people can make me feel their emotions with. Like I remember I used to listen to like Sam Smith growing up. I never was in a relationship. I never knew how it felt to have my heart broken.
Yeah.
But I used to be listening to those songs and being like, I wish my lover would make it to me.
Yeah,
I didn't have
used
like
to have a joke about Adele in that way. I was single for a long time growing up, and I was like, one of these days, dude, I'm gonna know what it's like to get my heart stomped on.
Man,
and
then that
Adele's
day
gonna make
comes-
so much more fucking sense to me.
And that's how it fucking feels. So I will say, like, with SZA, I don't think we have similar backgrounds besides being black women. But other than that,
Because she was raised religious, and so I was just curious.
yeah,
if
I was
like,
also raised like religious, but also my mom wasn't like. So we went to church probably like Sunday through Thursday. Like we would always be at
Oh,
church.
you were there for.
Yeah, but my mom was also like baking pies in the choir, so she wasn't like a pastor or a deacon or anything. And also like I've been to synagogue before, and like I've been in like experienced a lot of different like religions and like stuff like that. So like, and I also believe in like God and like spirits and like all that shit. Like so like I feel like I'm not true like diehard religious in that sense, but like so I grew up probably with that. So maybe that background could be similar on that. I've lived a lot of life, so I will say that maybe that's also why I kind of fuck with this album. Because I also like hearing people's experiences. Like, And that's kind of what music is too, is people's experiences on shit. So it's like, I like hearing that. Like, sometimes I like listening to the street guys rap because I don't know how it feels to sell cocaine or, smack bitches on the end. I don't really know.
About Pusha T, is like, I look at Pusha T anthropologically. I'm like, I'd love to learn about the street. And that's because it's kind of like a book. Pusha T himself is like, I want to teach white boys about the street.
He said, you ever heard of cocaine music? Yeah, there you go.
There we go. We're learning about the street. So that makes sense. Like, because I always look for the artist that like has some sort of similarity thread. Like, and I think it's like SZA. I agree that like seeing some shit is usually like where you land with SZA. Like, I've lived some life.
Yeah, like it's kind of like and that's where I can kind of appreciate that album because I'm like, damn, she's been living.
Yeah,
because like what is it? They say like with Lil Baby, it's like his music has no growth.
Right.
Because it's kind of like one of those things. It's like, well, what do you want him to talk about? Like, he could talk about his life, but would you listen? But it's also like, what is it when Jay-Z was making his albums? Like, he slowly, like, his first few albums had the same kind of similar theme until he kind of was like, all right, I'm going to make upper echelon kind of rap music of like, you ain't never been the back of a Maybach. Like, okay, never really been that. Thanks for flexing on me.
Like, what's more important than balling out of the strip club? Credit.
Yeah, literally. He said, I could have bought that building to Dumbo. I could have bought that painting. Like, okay, I never really knew how I felt that.
Like, that painting worth $12 million.
Yeah, I'm gonna hand it to my children, man. Like, what? Like, he's talking about generational wealth and raps, and I'm just like, I need health insurance. Like, you're
Take
just
your money and buy the neighborhood.
Yeah,
that's how you rent it.
I'm telling you. And then you just sitting there like, damn, that's a diss to the gangbangers, man. They out there really in the mama's apartment, just fucking like, we run this hood. No, the landlord could be like,
your
what?
Mama renting.
Your mama's renting, man. I'm like, oh fuck. So I would say like, I don't know, with like SZA's album, I think that's why I kind of fuck with it because it's like I grew since that Control period too. So I kind of like just fucked with it. And that's what I'm saying. It took me a long time to listen to Control fully.
Oh, okay.
I didn't like Control at first.
Interesting.
So it took me listening to SOS damn near to listen to Control fully and appreciate it. So I wasn't a Control fan first, and maybe that's why I fuck with this album.
I guess I can't judge because like it took me a while to get, because like The Weeknd is like the big song off of Control.
Yeah.
But I had to like, what really got me into that record in general was the Calvin Harris remix of that song where it was like way more upbeat.
You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
See the vision now.
You like 9 to 5.
But that's back when Calvin Harris used to take shit and go.
Oh, dude, he was like,
that was a
in
different
his
time.
Bag.
Different
like
time. When the last time you heard from Calvin Harris?
Well, okay, so
This shit
Funk Wave Volume 1 is like, was so good. And then like we were all pumped for like Funk Wave Volume 2. Absolute garbage. Trash. He struck gold so many times on that Funk Wave Volume 1. Like he had
everybody.
Slide, like with like Frank Ocean and like Rollin' with Khalid.
Yeah, and then he did something with Sway Lee at a point. That's back when Ray Shrimmer was like,
popping.
Man, damn.
I know.
So no, that was definitely a time of like mixes. That's what I'm saying. That's a different era of music.
Yeah,
like right there. Like I said, Tumblr music. That's back.
Dude, that era to me was like things didn't suck as much as they do now.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm waiting for us to get like recession music. I will say I don't think music right now is reflective of the time we're in, but it also is kind of reflective because it's like, don't look at your problems, look at mine. It's avoidant than a motherfucker.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like one of those things. Like I just spent $35 million in the club. Like that wasn't financially responsible you to do. Like sounds nice. Or like when people like,
we're all just distracting ourselves.
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. Oh, I put 3.5 in a blunt. Well, that's kind of wasteful. 3.5 of marijuana. Should not really do that. It's not gonna last.
It's also not a brag because it's illegal now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of one of those
things. The wholesale.
Yeah, like silly. Like yeah. So yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So do you use music as like a creative influence in your own work?
Yeah.
And so, okay, like, cause like I often, like I've talked about how like I used to, like when I was writing scripts, I would try to like come up with a soundtrack first and then and then write the script from the soundtrack.
No, I like that.
So like I was wondering if this album has influenced your creative work in any specific way, or if SZA in general, we can kind of open it up to like the artist, but.
I would say, I think music, comedy, it's all entertainment at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I always group them together like it's the same thing. Like music's just poems with beats. Like it's just the same shit. Like stories with beats. Like it's the same shit. So like for me, I will say, have I written? Yeah, I will say SZA. I don't think I've told a joke about like the stuff like I hear when I like write this, or like the stuff that just pops up in my head, or like just the memories I have to it. So like I will say, yeah, she definitely inspires me, but more in the sense where I look at my own life, I look at my own host stories, I look at the relationships I've had with women and go, huh, you know, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, but it's also like I've written to music before. Like, what is it? I don't know if you've heard my like Heaven and Hell joke where I talk like about the cancer kids and shit. Like that joke is actually based on B.I.G.'s suicidal thoughts.
Oh yeah.
Because he's like, oh, when I die, fuck it, I don't want to go to hell. Because like for me, I was thinking, when I die, fuck it,
I'm already there, dog.
Yeah, like man, why the fuck would I want to go to heaven? So that song made me think, okay, I don't want, like what would like who's up there? So that made me think about that. So like with SZA, I don't think there's a joke I've told out loud yet about like her album, but if I were to, it would just mostly be about like my relationships with women and like just the kind of memories I've been making. So it'd be mostly
what's that one about with your brother?
Yeah, my brother asking me for advice. So I would probably like it's one of those things where I've lived so much. Here's a little bit of advice, Solomon.
Yeah,
like
Solomon.
Solomon, yeah, that's his name. Yeah, that's my brother's
your
name.
brother. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to laugh.
He loves that joke. He's just like, why are you telling people that? And I'm like, just don't tell people it's you. Man,
we're not related.
Yeah, we're not at all. He looks just fucking like me, like just like me. It's kind of funny.
I'm not gonna roast your brother via you. I'm not gonna do
He's
it.
not as cool as me, so
well, but like you have that bit where you're like, everyone calls me Cleveland Jr.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So does Solomon? Is he Cleveland Jr.?
Essentially, he's a little less tubby, and he doesn't wear the color red. He likes black mostly. So me, that's why I got caught in it. It kind of sounds like that. My brother's a little bit of mute, like, and then when he talks, I'm just like, oh, that's you. That's my little baby brother.
Cleveland Brown Jr.
Yeah, pretty much. Shout out Solomon.
Shout out Solomon.
I'm telling you.
I'm so sorry. I've never met this man.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. You'll meet him.
Apologies to this man.
He doesn't come to the comedy shows. He's probably haven't met him.
That's fair.
That's all right.
I wouldn't go.
No, I don't think he wants to.
All right. So this hold on. Themes like are like between periods. So like we talked about like already like that this album is like so like just like a huge gap between periods in life, like your mid 20s to your 30s.
Yeah.
Like what are your chapters right now, and then like what is the growth change that happened between those chapters, and how are you like handling that in your comedy?
Okay, so the growth on this, let's see. I would say with this, like I said, this album was kind of towards the end of my hoe phase. Like it was me being like, maybe I should self-love, and
Maybe you should find love.
maybe I should just like chill and like the love I'm looking for, like give it to yourself. Like, it kind of did that whole thing. So I will say that was the chapter I was in. And now I'm more of in like a chapter of being like, I'm alive and I'm here.
Yeah.
And like,
well,
and
like it or not, I'm around.
Yeah, and that's just kind of what it is too, of being like, let's just focus on the present moment, take it day by day, enjoy the shit, like, and not be so serious with the shit, and not be so like in your head, and be more present in the moment. So be more mindful. So I say that's the chapter I'm in now, of more of just mindfulness.
Okay, what does that look like in your jokes then?
So in my jokes, it's like kind of looking at the thing of, I'm looking at the audience, looking at them going, what the fuck have these motherfuckers been through this week? Yeah. Like, do they want to hear about my problems? Probably not. Yeah. So let's not go down that route. There's no need to.
I get in that route too. Yeah, a lot of my bits are like from like something that happened to me.
But I also know for me, I haven't found a way to make that funny yet. For me, like if I were to vent on stage, it's not gonna look right. Right. It's not gonna look right at all.
Yeah, I've been working on some stuff about like my own family life. Ooh. And like I'm getting there. Like I'm like,
and that's for me, that's so hard to do. Like for me, it's kind of like I've tried to tell, like this was kind of like one of my first times telling a joke about like my family, like with my brother, and like people liked it. Like I used to try to always make fun of my brothers, and I guess the shit I saying it just wasn't funny. Yeah. So it's kind of like that joke I came up with my brother was like improv. It was like I had a premise, and I was like, yeah, let's just take it on the stage and see what I can come up with. So it was like kind of one of those things where I was like, I don't know. Yeah, that was just definitely, that was it.
The beauty of like working at bits like that is like a lot of mine, it's like watching the shift of like, is this sad? Like it's like 75% sad, 25% funny. And then the longer I work it out and like trim the fat or like, you know, rework things, it'll be like, oh, good. Now we're 75% funny,
No,
25% sad.
Yeah, and that's just the hardest part about it. Like I'm saying, it's like painting a picture and then realizing, fuck, I don't like this picture. And then you're like, okay, let's turn and let's do something else. And like, so I will say, I would say music and like, it's all about just kind of stringing that shit along. And
yeah, because you had like gone through like a job change over recent times. Like, has
So-
that affected your comedy at all? Like,
I loved
'cause, like,
being
there are life
unemployed.
things that happen that affect the way you tell jokes.
No, I will say, I think around the time when I was unemployed, that was probably the most fun I have ever had.
Oh yeah,
Because I was like, you don't have to spend money to have fun. And that's when I would just do shit. I would just show up to open mics. I ain't buying no drink. I'm not buying no
the
drink.
bane of every.
I'm not buying no drink. I'm just here. And I think that's when I was also just having the most fun too, just being like, I'm fucking here.
That's so opposite
You know?
to my experience.
What?
I was having way more fun when I had a job.
What?
Because then like comedy didn't feel as serious.
See,
know what I'm saying? It's
that's when
not-
it felt so unserious to me.
See, it's not like the thing like when I have like steady employment, like then I just write for the joy of the game instead of trying to make the game like my job.
No, that's real.
And so I'm like, this is just for the love of the game, and it's so much more fun when it like the pressure's off. And then it's
That's
like
real.
during my unemployment, I've honestly been like a little bit of a dry streak.
You're like-
I wrote my first new joke in like 3 months, like last week.
No, that's real. No, I understand that. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely get that aspect of it. So for me, like, I have creative blocks where like I won't write or like I won't come to mic because for some shit it ain't funny.
Yeah.
Like when I have a job, like I'm employed now. Like when I have a job, I'm not my happiest because I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah.
This isn't fucking fun. This isn't funny.
Right.
I'm not laughing. There's bills and shit. I'm just paying my car insurance. Like, I'm upset. Like, I'm adulting. I don't like this at all. Like, that makes me feel like ain't shit funny.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel like when I get on the mic, I should grab that bitch and go, I hate you all. why are we not revolting? Like, yeah, literally, it's like, why don't we do a revolution? Like, it makes me want to get so political. Like, I have moments like sometimes if you don't see me out, that's because right now I'm just like thinking only political thoughts.
Right.
I'm only thinking I should get up on the mic and make everybody uncomfortable with my blackness.
I was running a mic during like the inauguration times. I was like, and it was like the week after Elon did his Nazi salute. And I was so close to during like the pre-show meeting being like, one of you gets to make a joke about this. I don't care who it is. Figure it out amongst yourselves. But I don't want to hear any more than one because all 20 of your takes are going to be dog shit.
No, for real. That's real shit. Because, like, I don't know. Like, for me, like, real life affects how I act. And also just, like, I don't know. Like, I would say, like, during that time period, unemployed, that kind of thing. And, like, but I was also having fun.
Right.
It was, like, I learned a lot about myself being poor. Like, it was nice.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a reset. It was like, I'm a good person. Like, I'm nice to be around. Like,
I agree. There
You
has
know?
been like a portion of this unemployment time where I'm like, okay, this was like a good reset. I'm not going to lie to you.
yeah,
Like,
because
and,
I was
like,
so burnt out before I
Yeah.
got laid off too. And so that was also one of the things where it's like, I'm not having fun at all with none of this shit.
Yeah.
And so when I got laid off, I was happy.
Yeah, I
I'm
felt
not
that way too.
gonna
I felt
lie.
relieved.
Yeah, I felt like
Yeah.
it was kind of good. And then it's also like if you have your influx of money, you have your severance, you have your bonus, like you have a savings. I was traveling. I was in California doing mics. I was dicking around. I was in Minnesota doing shit. Like,
Yeah.
I was just having fun. Like, and then I was like, oh, I got a limited budget. I'm in California.
Now I
Can't eat
need a
much.
job.
But
Yeah.
then it's kind of like, oh shit, like let's get back into the swing of things and finding like that balance with that, and also knowing the signs of burnout. So like, during that time, did I know myself during that whole kind of SZA album? I was kind of like getting to know myself and shit, not really taking it serious. And then after that album, and then like going back to it and being like, I've lived a lot, done a lot of shit, and like I've grown. Like despite my growth not looking so linear, I've grown.
Yeah.
You know, so like I'm not that person who was listening to Control. Like, and then like I said, even when I listen to SOS now, that was a different. Like I said, that was the end of my home
Yeah.
phase. That was a different time. You know, and then that's why I said you gotta listen to the SOS Deluxe with like Caught Lana. You gotta listen to that shit because that's also a step above, like even more of her growth. Like you said, that was 5 years of unreleased songs.
Yeah.
So that second one is kind of like, oh shit, bitch, you got more to say.
Yeah.
So like I say, also listen to that one when you get a chance. 2 years from now, you know.
2 years from now,
You know,
I'll give
when
it
you-
a go.
Just because it's also it is long. That one's longer.
Yeah.
So
I've experienced like growth and like jokes. Like when I was large and now I'm not, and then I had to like get away from like the fat kid material into like the awkward adult material who's just normal.
No, that's real. Cause no, like what is it? I think I'm also in that period of like I want to tell new jokes, and like I'm also trying to get away from that. But it's also kind of hard when you're booked for shit because also like you have to remember not everybody's seen me before.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like these jokes aren't terrible, and I'm thankful like some of the stuff I have made has been like quote unquote timeless, so I can keep telling them. But it's also just like I haven't like I want to, because I've been through a bunch of stuff to where it's like I got better shit I want to say.
Yeah,
it's just how do I say it? You got to go through the whole. It's all about making another 5. People like that. If you can keep making good 5-minute sets, you good. You could be a comedian right now. But it's that making that 5 a strong 5. Yeah, a strong 5 is hard to get. Yeah, I'm telling also, you, a strong 2,
especially
3.
if you're like me and you keep switching up the what's in the 5. Like I probably have like a decent 25. Like I'm telling you, I have a decent 25. Narrowing down that decent 25 into like a rock solid 5.
It's hard shit.
It's the amount of effort that I'm not sure I feel like doing.
No, for real. Like, risk and reward.
Yeah. What if I just like what if I just started doing longer sets? It was just decent.
So they book me for features, man. That's all I do now. All I do is features. I need 15 or 20 every time.
Yeah, that's me. I'm feature only.
Might as fucking well. So no, man. Like I think, that's what I'm saying. Music can create nostalgia, like, and I don't know. That's what I'm saying. You can. That's why I say with some artists, you can grow with them. Like you can't grow with Lil Baby unless like you in like you
I
do that
grew
kind
with
of
Tyler
thing.
the Creator.
But that's when. But also he's been growing and living life, and you can tell from his music.
Yeah.
Like he was already exposed to a lot of different stuff, and like you can tell the best artists and like on what kind of music they listen to, what kind of TV shows they watch, because they make better music. Yeah. The more they experience life, the better their shit is. They're pulling from everything. Yeah. And I think that's what makes really good artists. Like, that's why some people was like, when they talk to like new age rappers and be like, oh, what do you think of Jay-Z and Nas? And they're like, fuck Nas and Jay-Z. I don't fucking know those fucking guys. That's old music. But it's also kind of like, you need to listen to a little bit of everything.
Well, but also like hip hop is so lineage based that like if you don't understand from which it came, then you're not going to know where it's going. And that's literally like Kendrick's main argument about hip hop right now. He's like, if you're not like a student of the culture, then like don't do this.
No, for sure. Like you have to expose yourself to all that things. Like, and like I listen to all kinds of music. I even listen to screamo. Sometimes there's a place for that. Listen to a motherfucker scream on the mic. That shit kind of fire. Yeah. You know, like it's kind of like this different.
Sometimes you gotta scream, man.
Yeah, like it's necessary. Like, and that's where I pick up like the emotions on that too. Like I said, like I look at when I listen to music, I look at the cover art. How is it making you feel? Yeah. If your cover art's just like meh, it's like okay, then it's gonna be a meh song. Yeah. Like it's not gonna be good. Like there's no thought into that. Yeah. But if you took the time and really made a good ass cover art, I'll listen. Like let's see what it's hitting for. Yeah. And like. It just depends on the vibe.
You're like, all right, Limp Bizkit, what are you about?
Like, fuck it. What is I listened to this band called, was it Pulp? Because it was like, I was going on like scrolling through music and it was like, 10-year anniversary or like decade. It was something like an anniversary of the album. And I was like, let's look at it. It was a bunch of white people on the cover. And I said, let's see what Pulp's about. And they were just white singing. And I was like, oh shit. Craziness. I don't know.
Can't even silence your phone for this.
I usually, my phone's on silent.
Can't.
My phone's usually on silent, I swear. No one ever calls me.
We've made it to the end of the episode anyway. Which is like, so like at this point, given the analytics, I've seen nobody's watching except my girlfriend right now. So
hopefully people are watching. They're watching, man.
But if you are watching, like, comment, subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thanks for being new and
coming to this.
Yeah, thanks for being new. Gabby, go ahead and tell the people if you got anything coming up you want to plug. If you got any other things you want me to link in the description, describe to the folks, give it to it.
Go ahead and follow me on Instagram for all like my stand-up clips. Gabby is comedy, GABBYIS comedy. I know some people see that and they're like, you think you're comedy? No, it's like Cincinnati black slang for like, you're funny. Yeah. So Gabby is comedy. Yeah, it's just, she's funny. So like, follow me on that. I think my next show is March 8th. Bombs Away Comedy at the Comet in Northside. Oh yeah. So I'll be there for I think 2 nights. I think show maybe at like 7:30, 7 o'clock that day.
7:39 probably.
Yeah, 7:39. On
Fun
the
fact,
8th.
I was originally supposed to be on that date.
What?
Yeah, I was supposed to be open for Lemaire, but then the Lemaire changed.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, shenanigans.
I don't think we've been on a show together yet.
Not in a while. No.
It's been too long. Been too long. They need us. Double trouble out there, man. He be getting me in trouble, I swear. What else do I want to plug? If you like music and like listen to different things, I'd say check out 3 of my artists: Cheesy Charles, Cheezy, Charles. Big Glue, not the Elmer's kind. He just dropped a new project called what's it called?
Big Lou?
Big Glue. Big Glue.
Big
Glue.
Glue.
Gorilla Glue.
Okay.
Glue. Yeah. Check him out. And
But
then
also not a mixture of an igloo and a big person.
no.
Big glue.
No slurs here. No slurs here. And then check out They Love Evol too. He's about to drop some new music. So
Oh yeah.
so check out that. Follow us.
Yeah.
You know, hope you enjoyed the podcast. Hope you listen to the album if you haven't.
Yeah, man. If you haven't, that's crazy. But if you have, leave a comment. You know, tell me where I'm wrong. People love doing that online these days.
Might as well.
It's been a good time.
Tell him about his hat.
It's a good hat.
Tell him about his hat.
People like this hat. People have asked me.
You
for
know who
these
likes
hats.
those hats?
White people.
Bass Pro people.
Oh, unreal. This isn't a Bass Pro hat. This is my own branded hat. Come on.
But your customer base, if you go to the Bass Pro with your hats, you'll sell like 2 boxes.
People don't like people at Bass Pro don't like music. They like guns.
I was about to say, maybe you should just buy a hat. Is that a Glock 94?
Buy the hat.
I love your pistol, sir. I'll buy that damn hat.
All right. Well, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Give it up for Gabby one more time. We're gonna, God, Jesus Christ. Check out the rest of the channel if you haven't already. We do live shows, and like we have a couple more of those coming out down the pipeline. I'd love to see some numbers pop up on those. They're super fun. If you live in the Cincinnati area, check out CommonwealthSanctuary.com and come to a live show if you would like.
Support live comedy.
Yeah, support live comedy. But we will see you in the next one. Peace out.
Peace.